Hi, I'm Tavish Carduff, and it is Emotion Week at our Raw Material. Welcome. Thank you for being here. You may start this practice at any time, including right this minute, or you can check out any of our intro videos at YouTube or our website where we've got other information about us. For now, let's just talk about the emotion pillar. How we feel plays such a big part in every single thing that we do. However, we have been largely conditioned to ignore our feelings or save them for a time and space that is more appropriate or quiet or private or whatever we have been conditioned to do with our feelings other than acknowledge them and feel them while we're having them. The emotion pillar is obviously emotional, so the space that we are going to be looking from is how we feel, why we feel, what we feel. Its correspondent in the first 4 weeks is mentors. Our mentors and tormentors set up the conditions that create our emotional situations, the things that make us really happy, really bothered, really excited. All of the things that stir us one way or another are brought basically by the reactions and things that our mentors and tormentors taught us to think and believe. Emotions are really cool when we can take an objective look at them. But since we get caught in the sea of feeling them, that's a little harder. We call the emotional weeks our ocean. So mentors, tormentors, emotions, and intentions all fall under the space of this ocean of feeling. All of these different ideas and things that stir around, swirl around, sometimes create hurricane conditions, sometimes it's calm seas, but we can always expect a change in that kind of motion because emotional things tend to create motion. When we try to keep them stagnant and stopped and just stick them right in our physical body, we end up calling them some sort of medical condition. And I don't think anybody wants to do that or is trying to create that when they are stifling the way that they feel, but that's exactly what happens. The reality is our unchecked emotions start to create all these spaces in our bodies where we don't feel. Case in point, my left knee. I have had surgery on it, 1980. I fell on it and broke my kneecap 4 years ago. And I have done a lot of work in between that space to try to access the feelings that were kind of stuck in there. Once I fell on my kneecap and reworked the nerve endings and the things that actually connected memories for me in there, I relived a lot of trauma in, let's say ages 9 to 12 years old that I really thought I had breezed through or overcome. It was really that I couldn't access where I had shoved those feelings. And that knee has always been a weak spot for me, kind of an Achilles heel inside of my knee. But now that those nerve endings are touching each other, now that we're starting to feel things within that knee, it's a different space to objectively look at what went on when I was those young ages. I'm 56 years old as of 2 days ago. So I'm clearly in a space to handle and accept the things that happened to me when I was 9, 10, 11, 12 that maybe I really wasn't in a position to handle when I was younger. That's our relationship with our emotions and our mental state. And I don't know how to get in and describe or understand exactly how that relationship works, what we remember, what we forget, what the universe, just sort of provides this space of gray area or gray matter where we're not really sure exactly how we feel or what we think because we have stepped so far away from those thoughts and feelings in real time that we don't have clear access to them. Relating to the emotion pillar gives us an opportunity to tear apart some of those old things and take a look at what really drove our need to either get away from them or our need to resist the urge to feel them, our need to not have those feelings. Personally, I was always told that if I cried, the conversation ended. So I did my best to not have emotions that made me upset or look like I was upset, because at that point my voice was done. I was cut off. So I was stunted in a way that forced me to express sad feelings. Either, well, let's just say forced me not to express them, or forced me to figure out a way to express them that didn't represent the feeling. I'm still working through the effects of that one, as I just ask myself all the time whether I'm justified in having the feeling I have. That brings me to this week's challenge, which is recognizing that we're justified in every feeling. So even when we think we're not, give yourself the space to feel. Now, we might not want to take that feeling any further. Our feelings are actual responses to things that happen, and it's the picture that our brain produces. It's the feeling that our mind-body connection produces, and we don't have a lot of control over that, how that comes through. What we have control over is how we receive it, judge it, handle it, care for it, nurture it. And a lot of times we don't do any of those things. It's like hot potato. We just want to get rid of it. When we start to think about how we can sort it, how we can incorporate it into who we are and the larger picture of what we feel, we find ourselves welcoming these more kind of orphaned feelings, and being willing to take them in again, take them in and nurture them in a way that we couldn't when we first had them. It's not easy to look back at things that hurt us specifically without feeling the hurt. But when we look at the conditions, when we look at the people that we blame and see kind of who they are, what they might have been going through, what their situation was, we gain perspective that gives the space for our emotions to breeze through, to remember what we felt or what we should have gotten to feel, what we would have felt if we hadn't been stifled. As you go through this week, recognizing how you feel about certain things, take a breath, find the space in your body where you might have hidden that when you were younger. Ask it to leave. Breathe and let all of your tight spaces, all of your joints, all of those little areas that we don't really, get into, between the ribs, inside the armpits, all of those extra areas. Let that all stretch out. Breathe. Feel the movement. Feel the room to take in a deep breath around things that don't feel good. Right there, I just touched back on at least 3, maybe 5 things that bothered me as a child. Things that make me tighten up and hold myself in a certain posture so that I don't really react to them. Opening that space up and giving the room for those things to move around through my shoulders, through my neck, up into the back of my head, and into the, just the back of that 5th chakra where we take things in. I don't have to like the things that happen to me to trust that I can handle them now. To feel good at letting them be part of me, even though some parts of my heart, they still hit and they hurt. Those feelings wash through like the ocean, just a wave. It'll come and it'll go, probably for the rest of my life. But this week is all about breathing. Breathing with the things that we feel. Thank you so much for listening to this week's guidance, and I will be back next week to talk about listening.